Hello and welcome back to the deep dive. We are really glad you're here.
We are.
Today we are looking at a stack of sources that deals with a tension I think everyone listening has felt.
Oh, absolutely.
It's that friction between the rigid calendar-based world we all work in, where everything is linear, everything has a deadline.
And the messy, fluctuating reality of just being human.
Exactly. It's this industrial expectation we put on our biological system.
Right. So we expect consistent output from brains that run on totally variable energy.
And usually the advice is all about productivity hacks or just pushing through.
Which often just makes things worse.
But the work we're digging into today takes a completely different angle. We are diving into the research and design work of Lou Riordan.
Riordan's work is so compelling because it's not abstract theory. It's a documented survival strategy. We're going to trace the evolution of a student project called FizzStory into a personal survival system called Fizz at Play.
And before we get into the systems, we have to understand the person building them. Lou Riordan, and we'll call her Lou or Riordan, is an artistic creative.
And her background is it's key. Context is everything here.
She grew up and worked moving between Ireland and the United States, right? Specifically New York City.
Mm-hmm. And the sources really emphasized this wasn't just travel. It was about seeing a specific kind of consumer culture in, overdrive.
She calls it a dual existence, and it exposed her to what she terms a charge it, trash it, replace it culture.
That phrase, charge it, trash it, replace it, that's the whole foundation. She saw how quickly objects, lost their meaning. You buy it, use it, and then it's just garbage.
But the leap she made was realizing that institutions often treat people the same way.
That is such a heavy realization.
Yeah, that your creative energy is just another consumable resource. You burn the fuel, and when the tank's empty, well, the system doesn't really know what to do with you.
Exactly. And she carried that awareness into her postgraduate work at UCC in their Innovation Through Design Thinking program.
She went in with a real mission.
She did. She wanted to build a storytelling tool to fight back against that disposable culture, something that made memories and experiences actually last.
But, and this is where the story pivots, while she was trying to build this thing, she hit a wall.
And not a small one.
A really big one. Deep systemic burnout.
The documents call it sustainment failure. She was dealing with environmental constraints, housing instability, just the sheer cognitive load of the program.
So what we're actually looking at isn't just a design project.
No, it's recovery design. She ended up having to build a system to save her own creative process first.
So let's map this out. We've got the origin, the crisis, and then the solution. Start at the beginning. The concept was called FizzStory.
FizzStory. It started as a proposal for a participatory storytelling experiment.
Okay, what does that mean?
Well, Riordan was looking at how we consume media now. Think about scrolling social feeds. It's so passive. It's lonely.
It's consumption, but there's no connection.
Precisely. FizzStory was supposed to be about agency. She wanted the audience to be involved in the story, to make memory tangible.
To create artifacts.
Yeah, artifacts. Proof that a shared moment actually happened.
So she pitches this in an academic setting, and the notes on the reception are really interesting.
They are.
It wasn't a disaster, but it wasn't a clean success either. It was complicated.
It was a layered reception, and this is important. We shouldn't frame it as a failed pitch.
Right.
It was a moment of categorization friction. The sources show her supervisors, her peers, they were encouraging. They saw the potential, but they were also really confused.
They were asking, is this a product, a performance? Is it a platform?
Right. They needed to put it in a box to understand how to grade it, how to value it, and FizzStory just wouldn't fit in their boxes.
And Riordan realized she was facing a communication problem.
But not just about her choice of words. It was a fundamental gap between her, her nonlinear creative process and the very linear frameworks of the institution.
There's a great detail where she notes that the work resonated emotionally, like people would light up.
Yes, when she described the feeling of it. But they couldn't grasp the mechanics.
Which is such a common experience for neurodivergent thinkers. The vision is crystal clear, but the step-by-step instructions the institution wants are fuzzy.
And Riordan took this friction as data. She realized the difficulty she had in explaining the work was actually a clue. The mess of the process that was becoming more interesting than the polished final product.
Mess equals material.
Exactly. Mess equals material. But while she's having this, intellectual breakthrough, her actual physical and mental reality is crumbling.
Which brings us to the pivot. She's in sprint 2 of the program. She's trying to iterate on FizzStory, but she is just running on fumes.
She was in survival mode. The sources talk about brain fog, exhaustion, that sustainment failure we mentioned.
She was trying to perform the role of the good student, the innovator.
But her internal resources were just gone, depleted.
And this is where the big shift happens. She stops trying to design some external thing for other people, and she looks in the mirror. And she has this incredible realization. I am the artifact.
I am the artifact. It's such a profound reframing.
Let's unpack that a little. What does that actually mean for the creator to be the artifact?
It means the project isn't about the output anymore. It's about the instrument that creates the output. Riordan realized that if she didn't design a system to support herself, the human instrument, well, there would be no work at all.
It becomes about process over polish.
And specifically, designing reflection as supportive infrastructure.
Right, because as an autistic creative, the standard tools like SMART goals, rigid timelines, they didn't work for her.
They didn't just not work, they were actively harmful. They assume you're the same person every single day with the same energy.
Which no one is.
And when you aren't that person, those tools make you feel like a failure.
Yeah.
They actually contribute to the burnout. So she had to stop fighting her own neurology and start designing for it.
So she starts building this new system, and she treats her own process like a lab.
She calls it workflow instrumentation.
I love that term, instrumentation.
It implies measuring, tracking, adjusting. It's not about trying harder. It's about data.
And the visual of her workspace from the documentation is just amazing. She used an AI to reflect on what her studio felt like, and the AI said,
It looks like Mr. Rogers and Basquiat are sharing a studio, and it's in a treehouse.
it's such a perfect image.
It is. You get the safety and gentleness of Mr. Rogers, that feeling of you are okay just as you are.
And then you get Basquiat, expressive, chaotic, graffiti style, non-linear.
And it's all in a treehouse, a
Yeah.
safe, slightly removed place to observe from.
Now, AI played a huge role here, but not in the way we usually think of AI. She wasn't using it to, cheat on her papers.
No, not at all. For Riordan, AI was a reflective mirror. She even named her AI agent DigiSlice.
For digital home slice.
Yeah. And it served a really important accessibility function. When you're in deep burnout or a neurodivergent shutdown, human interaction is expensive.
It costs a lot of energy.
Ton of energy to
Right.
explain yourself, read social cues, to mask.
So the AI became a kind of co-thinker.
Exactly. It let her externalize her thoughts, find patterns. Without any of that social cost, she could just dump the mess into the AI, and it would help her sort it.
It was a safe space for iteration over completion. And out of this chaotic Basquiat Mr. Rogers lab, she develops the actual toolkit, the solution, Fizz at Play.
Fizz at Play, a modular reflection toolkit. The whole point is to reclaim play as a serious, vital part of the creative process.
But the core of it, the real architectural piece, is the carbonation model.
Yes, this is where it gets so practical.
The carbonation model. She breaks down creative energy into 4 states. Let's walk through these. The first one is fizzing.
Fizzing. Now, you might think fizzing is the goal. High activation, high output. But Riordan is really clear here. Fizzing is intense, it's fast-moving, but it is not necessarily sustainable flow.
It's more like a sugar rush or anxiety-driven.
It can be. If you stay in fizzing too long, you burn out. It's hard to steer when you're moving that fast.
Okay, so what's the sustainable version of that?
That would be the next state, bubbling.
Bubbling.
Bubbling is steady, contained energy. This is your productive rhythm. You're engaged, the work is flowing, but you're not redlining the engine. This is where the long-term work gets done.
Then we drop down a level to flat.
Flat, low activation, low energy, reduced capacity. The soda has, lost its carbonation.
And finally, the state of crisis. Popped.
Popped. This is the rupture. The vessel has failed. You're overwhelmed, and your emotional or cognitive regulation is compromised.
What's so brilliant about this model is that it sounds like physics, not morality.
That is the entire key. Most systems, corporate or academic, see flat as laziness and popped as incompetence. The carbonation model just sees them as energy states. And Fizz at Play has tools for every single one of them.
Right, because if you're in a popped state, you can't just sit down and write a 5-page reflective essay.
You can barely access language sometimes. And that's why she developed the concept of hashtag not verb.
Hashtag not verb. Explain that.
It's a practical tool for those moments when verbal articulation just isn't there. We think reflection means writing or talking. But if you're unregulated, Forcing words can make everything worse.
So, hashtag not verb lets you tag your experience instead.
Exactly. Using objects or tokens or simple keywords. You might just move a red sticky note from one side of your desk to the other.
You're still performing the reflection, you're still tracking the data.
But you're not forcing the verb, that heavy cognitive lift of making sentences. It keeps the system running without draining what's left of the battery.
It acknowledges that the process has to continue even when the creator is, offline.
It validates that you are still present. You're starting where you are instead of wishing you were somewhere else.
She also has a concept for working with other people, the NBA. Not basketball.
No, the non-Brad agreement.
A non-Brad agreement.
It's a minimal viable contract for collaboration. It's really just about setting boundaries and expectations up front.
So if I'm flat and you're fizzing...
We need to acknowledge that before we start working so we don't end up resenting each other. It's a way to keep the play alive by respecting everyone's constraints.
And this all ladders up to that broader concept you mentioned at the start, recovery design.
Recovery design is the big architectural takeaway. It frames reflection, not just as looking back on what you did,
but as reflection as re-entry. That's a powerful phrase.
Isn't it? Think about that. Charge it, trash it, replace it culture. In that system, if you break, you get replaced. In recovery design, if you break, if you pop, the system is actually designed to help you get back in.
It assumes the crash is going to happen eventually.
It assumes the crash is a possibility and it plans for it. And that removes so much of the shame.
Yeah.
Usually when we burn out, we hide. We feel ashamed. And that shame keeps us away from our work.
Reordney's tools are like a bridge back.
They are a bridge back to the work.
So we've gone from a student pitching a complex storytelling idea to a designer creating a very personal survival infrastructure.
And look at the progression. The mess of that original pitch. The confusion, the lack of a category, that wasn't a mistake.
It was the raw material?
It was the raw material.
Sure.
By leaning into that mess, she built something so much more necessary than just another app.
She proved that the process is the artifact.
She really did. And for anyone listening who feels like they don't quite fit into the linear boxes at their job or their school, this is such a validation. The path doesn't have to be a straight line.
It implies we need to stop looking at our low-energy days as lost time, as failures.
And start looking at them as data. If we instrument our workflow, if we know when we're bubbling and when we're flat, we can design a life that's actually sustainable.
We can move away from charge it, trash it, replace it.
Towards something that lasts.
Yeah.
It's grounded, it's practical, and it's just deeply human. We aren't machines, and we should stop trying to build systems that pretend we are.
Absolutely. We're going to wrap up our analysis there, but as we close out this deep dive, I want to leave you with the final instruction from Lou Riordan's work. It's simple, but it anchors everything we've talked about today.
It's the permission slip we all need.
Remember, start where you are, fizz out, play on.
Play on.
Thanks for listening. We'll catch you in the next deep dive.